Hey guys, here we are, the Quiggin Out MMA Podcast, episode 66. And if you're watching the show and not listening to the show, you'll recognize my guest, the one, the only BJJ Black Belt
Oh
legend.
my, oh,
Yes, Master Ricardo Liborio, a good friend of mine, and
that's
an honor
true.
I never thought I'd be able to have. So thank you so
Oh
much for
my,
coming on the show. How are you?
I am good. I'm awesome. I can't complain with everything. Met, it's been a while. You were saying like almost like a 3 years the last time we actually done
So
it, right?
you were on the show episode 7. I believe, and now we're on episode 66. So
60 episodes, almost 60 episodes ago. Yeah.
let's see.
Well,
Let's
it's quite
see.
a
I might
while.
be
It's
wrong. Who
quite a while.
knows? Let's
But
see.
anyway,
No, it was
regardless,
episode 20. It wasn't that long ago.
it is awesome to be here. You're always a pleasure to talk to you, Matt. You know that you're a dear friend. We always like it or not, we always in communications. We always texting
Like,
and checking on each other. Yeah,
yeah,
like it or not, we're always in communication. We're not really incognito anymore. We're not hiding. We always connected. This is a good
yeah.
thing, and it's
Well, it's
funny
funny
because
because
how do we met, right? Tell it about you. Go. You're about to say that. Go ahead.
oh my god, I was. That's what's so crazy. I was literally
Yeah.
telling this story the other day before we locked it down, and I just said I still have that $5. Just so you know, like I still have that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That
Tell
was
the
that was
story. Tell the story.
that was the UFC Orlando card, and we were my good buddy Kate Shy with Christopher James had introduced us because we had never met before. Sorry about that.
No. Right.
And we were sitting at the table. It was me, you, Kyle Lesher, and I don't remember the kid's name. And we were just talking about fights and things. And then
Uh,
Greg Jackson walked by, and you got up and talked to him because Lawler and Condit were about to fight. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever to see two coaches outside of a fight talking to each other and just having a good time. Good luck to you, but not really, kind of thing.
yeah.
And
And
I
we always
remember,
have this conversation. This is an interesting conversation. We always finish with that. You say,
oh
well,
yeah,
I would say good luck to you, but I really don't want you to win. So, so whatever it is. But we're
and
me and Greg, we're acquaintance, and I really respect him a lot. I always
yeah,
had a great vibe with this guy. I always thought he was a very intelligent, very high IQ, knows a lot about fighting. He's a big researcher, but a good person in general.
yeah.
Very good person, very good person in
Well,
general.
yeah, and that was really my interaction with him. But then he walked away, you came back, and we started talking about Dos Santos and Overeem. And the kid at the table said, "Oh, they were supposed to fight at UFC 149." And I said, "Actually, it was UFC 146." And I remember you reached in your pocket and put money on the table, and you said, "This kid," pointing at him, he said, "He knows everything. Look it up, look it up." And I said, "Okay." And I mean, I don't think I ever told you this, but I knew that because I had purchased a signed poster that was really somebody who just made a photocopy and probably not even a real signature. But I have that still. So I was like, I know I'm right here. And I you looked it up and both you and Kyle like just stared at me like he was
We
right.
lost it. He was right.
But that
Get out of here, kid.
that moment built a friendship. I got to, you called me when ATT
Uh,
had their grand opening. Um, I almost got killed by Robbie Lawler that day. I don't know if you ever knew that.
no, I did not know. But tell me the story.
So I think I've told this story before, but you invited me down there to take pictures. Like that
Right,
was what I was
right,
there to
right.
do. And I'm taking pictures, and I saw Robbie playing with a kid, and it was just a wholesome moment. It was a very, just like uncharacteristic of what you would normally see from him. And all of a sudden he's talking to somebody and he sees me taking pictures from across the room, and he points at me from across the room and he goes, "Who the is that?" And I went, "Uh-oh." And the other guy came over to me and he was like, "Hey, so who are you?" And I was like, "No, no, no." I was like, "Master Ricardo asked me to come down here, like take pictures." And he's like, "Yeah, that's Robbie's kid." and I literally went through and deleted every picture I had taken. It was terrifying. Like, it was one of the
Wow.
scariest moments
No, I
of my
did not know this story. I did not know this story. I guess he's very protective of it, you know?
and I respect that completely. Like, that's why I had no problem, like, getting but it's a funny story now, but, here we are, that was 2016, I think, was the grand opening of that.
Uh,
I can't believe it's
was
been that
Robbie
long.
was was Robbie the champion at the time?
Um, yes. No.
Okay.
Yes, 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 he was, because that
Was
was
he?
right
Yeah.
after the Condit fight.
Okay. That was I don't know. It is
But
uncharacteristic of him. I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
I think in that moment, he was
Usually a
being
very
protected,
solid.
and I was a
Yeah.
strange person, and I got that completely, but it's not to
I don't
say
know.
anything bad about the man. Like, I
Uh,
understand why he did it, but it's a funny story for me because 'cause I'm, like, shaking over
okay.
here, like, "What's going on?" So, no, I had a great time that day, and, we the last time we talked, you had done something really started something monumental in the fact that there are universities out there right now teaching jujitsu for
Yeah.
college credit. Like, that sounded absurd when you told it to me. I said, "There's no way this is gonna
It's
work."
funny about this. I I received a phone call today from one of my black belts there in North Carolina, and he just got a proposal to one of the biggest universities. I don't even know exactly which one, but it's one of the big universities there in North Carolina. Have a good wrestling program, and they wanted him to start teaching the academic class of jiu-jitsu and creation of the club. So following the same model, I believe in pretty soon we're going to have this thing taken off in with a lot of events in general. I am not very big supportive of just competition events. I am not mad. You know that if we just follow the same model that wrestling did and what IBJJF is doing right now, we're going to exclude a lot of people that don't have the athletic ability or the desire to compete.
Mm,
Look at this, man. I'm talking about a lot of 97% of people that trains grappling, jiu-jitsu
don't
do
compete.
not compete.
No.
3% only compete. So we got to be more creative in a part of doing the events for those guys. It can't be just competition. It can't solely trust competition and a way to gathering people. Because
Yeah.
in the end, Matt, it's all about putting people together.
Yeah.
It is always creating this bond. So yeah, I believe that's something that's going to grow even more. And we did something at UCF that was is very. I'm very proud to be part of that. It took off big time. The club nowadays has 750 members. Look at this, man.
Oh.
750 members in a jiu-jitsu club. It is the largest club at the university. It is look at this. It is the largest sports club with another one is e-games. E-games that you don't need to go anywhere. It's just you sign up to be an e-game club.
Mhm.
I think we had at one point more more members than the e-game club, which is was just
That's
massive, man.
monumental. That's
Yeah, we're really
monumental.
really big. 750 members. It was really, really big. And we start with six guys. Start with six guys training around, and let's do this. But I think the difference was exactly following this motto of you can't just be competitive. You can. People sees the competition also.
Mhm.
The room for competition, Matt, is different. You don't welcome everyone in all of it. It's not. It's got to be a potential teammate or a good training for somebody else, or establish your status quo for being a hard worker or for being really good. And and I don't think this will help everybody. I think you can have divisions. I think you can definitely have competition. And competition for the 3%, it is important, and you have to provide this in one point. But it's like the general schools, in all the schools right now that you see of jiu-jitsu and any other martial arts, they cannot solely trust or invest their time with solely competition. They
Hmm.
have to attract the people that wants to do this as a workout or therapy or or socializing or learning self-defense or boost on the confidence. All those things here take in consideration. But if you just dedicate yourself for competition, you're going to be really tap into the only 3%, and you're not going to help as many people. But if you
No.
have something that is welcome people, let them feel, let them feel that they're special. This is the main thing about it. Let people feel that they belong to something, and if they want to compete. If you have a program for competition, great. You lead them to the competition program, which is a completely different animal. The
Hmm.
mental game, the activities, the discipline is a completely different animal there. But you cannot solely just trust this to have a business. This model is really not effective. It's not successful. So a lot of gyms that you see that really good jujitsu gyms, they still they still find or trying to find a way to welcome this regular guy. You know,
Yeah. And
and mom, it's.
everybody, and to have, just going back to the 700 members, I'm still blown away by that. You know,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people. So what has been, getting the you're one of the ones teaching the program. We see the videos, and I've gotten to see a lot of, like, a kind of the behind the scenes of it. How is it any different than if you were just teaching at an academy or a dojo or your own place? Like, how is it different, or is it different at all with these
It is
people?
different.
Yeah.
It is different. It is different. Well, the club, anyone who is a student of UCF can go to the club, right? But a lot of the club, and this is interesting, a lot of the club is fed by the classes. Nowadays, we have 5 classes. And from those 5 classes that we have we have a lot of people. It's 35 or 40 people in every class. Um, those kids, they take interest in to try to learn more, and the club is right after the classes. So the majority of those guys sign up for the club, but to be in a class is a class, they have attendance, and the class has a curriculum that's being followed. So you do have to do your diligence. You got to show up. You got to learn the techniques. You got to respond to quizzes and the final exam. You got to be there. So you impossible for you to not to learn something. Well, you got to be there to pass it. It is
That's
attendance.
incredible.
Yeah. And if you do not, even if you're hurt or something like this, you meaning outside, you'll be able to learn a lot. So you follow the curriculum. You will know the names. You know the history. You know a lot of things, which is, believe it or not, Matt, this is a great introduction to not just martial arts, but to Brazilian culture in general. Make understand a lot of those kids, man, they don't even know that in Brazil they speak Portuguese. If I tell you this, 50% of the kids don't know. They think it's Spanish.
Mm.
And I started talking a little bit about my past and Rio de Janeiro and Copacabana and Carlson Gracie and at least to acai. We have an acai night every semester. We take those guys to eat a Brazilian barbecue. We put this big mats inside of mats on a canvas on the floor, and those guys go to barbecue and we eat it. And there was a lot of kids. They enjoyed it. But beyond anything else, I believe that the success of this, it is not just because the academics is not just jiu-jitsu is a great product. It sells pretty easy. It's fun. It's a great
Yeah.
workout. It is you're learning self-defense. It is pretty cool. And you're not hurting as much. Like other martial arts, you have too much impact. Like
Mm.
wrestling, you have too much impact. And it's not everybody can do it. Judo, a lot of impact. Um, striking, Muay Thai, it's hard for you to take the pressure out of a punch or out of a kick. That makes sense. When you throw punches, it's really hard to pull it out. But in jiu-jitsu, you can go with the pressure, and anyone can train.
Yeah.
Anyone. I mean, if you're a white belt and you know the basics and you know how to tap, you'll be training in less than a month. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And and you can go from there and evolve your skills to learn what you're doing it. But beside that, you'll be able to train. You'll be able to train. You'll be able, to fully get a good workout and help your mind. This is therapy, man. I keep saying this, Matt. Believe what I'm saying. Write this quote: Jiu-Jitsu is the new yoga for tough people. That's what it is. It's for tough people that can
I-
handle the pressure and being there. You know,
I'm writing it
that's
down. So just so you know.
yeah. Jiu-Jitsu is the new yoga for the tough people. People that can handle the pressure to be touched and go for submissions and tap. You know, that's a lot of good stuff there. It's good for your
I
ego
honestly
too.
think tapping is one of the most important things you'll ever learn.
That's true. That's true. And that's why you have to teach people how to tap on a first class, you know, which is that this is goes, the paradox of this, man. Um, if you go to a competition room or a competition at school, you're kind of suddenly, but or not suddenly, you really are mentored to not tap easily,
Hmm.
if it makes sense. You don't want
No,
you to
absolutely.
tap
You're supposed
easily.
to fight through it. Fight through it.
Yeah, you fight through it. You got which is okay, but if it's not the purpose of why you're doing this, understand this. This is going to hurt. It makes a lot of sense. So you have to choose it. I'm not saying that is impossible. Look at this. At the time, at the Brazilian top team or even American top team, we have this great combination in between the amateurs and the pros, and they can coexist. Maybe in different time schedule, but they can coexist. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to put
Yeah.
the professional fighter to go train with the amateur white belt. They're going to get smashed or smash people.
Yeah.
They're going to smash people. So you don't do this directly, but you definitely can put it all together in one room. That's important. That's what I believe. So
No, and
the
I
model,
agree.
yeah, the model can work. The success of the business itself is to be sustainable. Sustainable. You need oxygen. You need money. For that, who pays is the regular guy. It's not the athlete. It's not the professional. It's a regular guy usually.
Hmm.
And it has to be taught.
No, and that's amazing. And what you've been able to do with it over the past few years since you came up, since you told me about this idea, and seeing it just grow and seeing, all these people, it was a lot of white belts posting about, oh, I'm taking jujitsu now. They were so excited. And the reach was getting to a different group of people. And like you said, being that it's an academic class,
Mm,
you have to attend class, you have to
yeah.
pass quizzes, which I imagine the quizzes don't come in the middle of a roll, but you know.
No, actually, there's a real quizzes online. You got to go up there, and there's uh, 20 questions, and you have to answer half point each one of them. And yeah, it's interesting. It changes every semester, but it's pretty easy. If you show up, you will know. But
Yeah.
if you don't show up, you better study because you're not going to pass. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, they
And
can't. Well,
go
go
ahead, man.
ahead.
Attendance has a big scale on all this. The whole the whole purpose at the kids to experience, there's a lot of good things that come out of this. Number one is a great balance in between your your fake confidence or your lack of confidence. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Here's a guy who have done a wrestling or no, have done a football his whole life. A big guy, football player, or every male in that age of 18, 20 think they can fight or think that they're, capable of doing it. Or I don't want to generalize, but that's the reality. You have the boost of confidence, or maybe because of the age. But when you go for a class of jiu-jitsu and you have a more skilled kid, even when they are lighter than you, and you're getting submitted, you're getting tapped out, you're getting taken down, the guy's taking your back, and you get caught in a guillotine, and you start to, holy crap, what is this? I knew how to throw a punch, I knew how to do this, but when you put it all together, you kind of balance your scale of reality. You know what I'm saying? You better know a lot way more than you know it to think that you're a fighter or you can fight in the street.
yeah,
Now, now at the same time, the guy who's too shy, after knowing a couple things, there is the basic, they will be able to defend themselves a little bit more. And when I say a little bit more, man, I have seen it, and I keep saying this: the blue belt, Matt, is a belt that people have to be really careful because they feel like they have a false sense of confidence. They're being able to defend themselves because you learn as the regular base guy that you see on the streets, man, you know how to tie, clinch, and take people down, work in a guillotine, go in a rear naked choke, defending this and that. You would know. But at the same time, is that reality? I guess a more skilled fighter, or this is reality for the streets? I don't think so. You know.
hmm
But anyway, it is a balance. The guy who feels a little bit shy, he will grow. The guy who feels like he is, he is a Superman. He comes down here in the reality of facts. So it's kind of balances out, your ego, you know, higher or lower.
yeah,
It's a good thing.
and
You just,
that
you just, so we could see this a lot, man. Is jujitsu from from the COVID times, people felt the necessity of this human connection and a sense of a community and being around more people. All this was very necessary, very necessary. You think is not, but we're social beings, man,
yeah,
and COVID proved that. You know.
yeah, and I was always told from the beginning. This is what I heard everywhere: leave your ego at the door. And you talked about how important that is. The guy that's shy, just go in there. You're gonna the confidence is gonna grow, and the social interactions are gonna grow. And like you said, being
Yeah,
through the COVID times, we're not in them as much as we were, in the lockdown days where people were, you know, think about it, like there were people not leaving their houses at all. They were not doing anything, and then you had jujitsu people hiding in places and boarding up the windows so they could train and nobody would come and
that's
stop.
true.
It's
That's
an addiction to that social connection.
um, yeah. The physical, the mental, the spiritual. When I say spiritual, is this? They say that you have a spiritual connection when you actually be able to mindful. They say this. When you're mindful means that you're so caught in the present that you're not feeling the anxiety of the future or not
hmm
feeling the depression of the past. You're mindful in the present right now, and when you have this insight through yoga or through meditation or through jujitsu, it's like an elevation. You get out of there better, and and it helps every time that you're in a position of flow, like you're surfing a wave or doing something that you have so much fun. You're really not thinking of anything else, and
Mm-mm.
that's the spiritual side that you're so connected to the present right there that you don't see it anything else. You're not in anxiety, you're not in depression, you're not in stress, you're not. That's healing, man. This is really helping people.
Yeah. I've never gone into jujitsu and not felt better afterwards, even if I had the most horrible night on the mats and I get crushed by everybody and I'm just, my transitions aren't
Uh,
working. I leave there and I go, oh, I feel better.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's it. Just don't. This is when you have to choose the right places. You don't get hurt. You shouldn't get hurt. You shouldn't have your prime objective to be. If you're not a competitor, you gotta understand this. You're not gonna be training with competitors there that have one thing in mind, which is winning. And you
yeah.
can't blame them, man. Maybe the different it's a different set for you, is a different room that you should be looking for than a competition place. And if you
Mhm.
are in a competition place and you know the rules of the competition place, you know the philosophy, don't blame it anyone. You know what I'm saying? You sign up for it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That happens a lot. It's man. I remember those guys were coming in to train for MMA and said, "Man, I want to be an MMA fighter," and they find out quick that it takes much more than just desire, you know,
Mhm.
to be an MMA fighter. It's just a dream. I'm going to fight in UFC. I have seen this a million times, and you really put them in training, and the beating comes, and you have to demonstrate your ego and your expectations or your lack of knowledge. You tell me, what I mean, this is going to take a long time, and a lot of guys don't pursue it.
No.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, and I can't imagine what you've seen over your years, and that's not saying you're old. That's not what I was saying, but you have seen this sport evolve, grow, mutate, bad
Yeah,
times, good times. You've seen it all, and you're taking all that knowledge and imparting it in a way nobody had ever thought to do before. Nobody ever even thought was possible.
yeah, I have seen it. I'm just gonna go a quick history lesson here right now. In 1991, in Brazil, there was a clash of styles. It was the first clash of styles, Jiu-Jitsu against Luta Livre. Jiu-Jitsu was fighting against Luta Livre. Luta
Mhm.
Livre is a new upcoming martial arts there, was practiced with a lot of tough guys. It was a spin-off of a catch wrestling.
Okay.
Catch wrestling. It
Mhm.
was so there was a big attachment to the wrestling guys, big conditioning guys, and the jiu-jitsu was always in the South Zone or Rio. Um, Taught for majorly by the Gracies, a lot of the Gracie schools. And when the Luta Livre came in, it took off, especially because they didn't have the gi. It was a no gi. It was a grappler, and there was a challenge. And this challenge was accepted by the jiu-jitsu guys. And at the time, in 1991, Carlson Gracie was the first head coach of jiu-jitsu. He was the
Mhm.
guy who was training all the jiu-jitsu representatives to fight the Luta Livre guys. And was the first time that jiu-jitsu really, really got together to fight a common enemy there. It was just the Luta Livre guys, right? Carlson was training. I remember I trained with Fabio Gurgel. I trained with Castelo Branco, Traving, Marcelo Bering. A bunch of guys were coming in to training together to get ready for this. And in 1991, something happened, and they actually televised this live, and it was crazy, as you can imagine. 1991, it's the Valetudos, people headbutting and blood everywhere. It was a mess. It was national televised. And the next day, all the newspapers are coming out massacring everything. This is human cockfighting. This is terrible violence. But Jiu-Jitsu won everything. And in the next day,
Shocking.
every teenager kid in the country wanted to do Jiu-Jitsu. It's like it or not, it was shocking, but everybody wanted to do the Jiu-Jitsu afterwards. 1991, man, gave inspiration to the 1993 UFCs. That makes sense? The
Oh, I love
UFC
it.
in 1993 was actually created based on the success of 1991, not just the 1991. It's not even fair to say that. Before that, the Greases had the massive Vale Tudo competitions, but in the modern, into the 90s, before the UFC was created, you know, was the major event. It was Jiu-Jitsu against Luta Livre in 1991. 1993, the UFC was created and was a massive success of viewers at least. You know, before Zuffa, it was everybody was very intrigued about the clash of styles. But in between 1991, even in 1993, all the Carlson Gracie guys started training and competing in other places. Don't forget this: the biggest market was in U.S. The biggest market for all this was in Japan. Japan,
Of course.
they had it. Yeah, they had it. They had it. The first volley two dose, but they had a pancrase there too.
Yeah.
So they had some sort of a not different rules, but similar. So they're
Mhm.
putting clash of styles. They're putting clash of styles, and with time, this has really created this transformation from, and this is where you come from. This is volley two, no holds bar, in MMA what you're seeing today. So before that, I was able to see it, the Valetudos, and turns into the no holds bar, which is a little bit more, more
Mhm.
a little bit more regulated, to turn it into the mixed martial arts as we are seeing today, which is a complete different animal.
Oh yeah.
Before it was clash of styles, no rules, and nowadays a kid with 5 years old already it being transformed into this 18-year-old fighting machine that he learns MMA since the get-go. You know,
Yeah.
that's it.
It's
It's
amazing.
just gonna get better and better. Yeah, it's amazing. It's gonna get better and better.
And that's why I loved getting your take on it, because I know you were around for that and you were a part of, that the Lucha Libre, like all that when it was going on. And we had talked about that before and how crazy it was that it really did give birth in a way to the UFC. Like it kind of bridged that gap, let's just say. And it really
Yeah,
became what it is. Now we've got, you know, you've got jujitsu on pay-per-view events by themselves. You've got, the MMA fights this weekend. Obviously, everybody's talking about John Jones, but I don't want to get into that because that's been a whole
yeah.
it's been a whole
What's your
thing.
take?
But
I want to hear a take. Who's gonna win?
see, here's what I don't like, and I'm gonna say this. I posted this online, and I don't care that I'm saying this. I don't like that Gon like put out a quote that said, "I don't train unless I'm lazy. I don't do anything unless I'm in a fight camp." I don't like that mentality, and I felt like that was him giving an excuse if he loses to be like, "Well, I guess I didn't train that much." Like I feel like if you're at the highest level and you're about to fight for the undisputed title, even though the whole thing with Ngannou is atrocious to me. I can't even believe that happened, that they let him go. The demands
Yeah,
that he had trying to make the sport better. We don't know what goes on behind those closed doors. We've heard Dana's side, we've heard Francis's side as manager. We don't know what happened behind those closed doors, but
yeah,
John Jones is away for 3 years between failed, now they're saying they should overturn his no contest with DC to a win because the rules have changed on what is considered legal and not legal for what was in his system. I said we can't be changing fights from years ago. We can't do that. I
No,
always loved John fighting. I always loved watching Jones fight because he just brought something completely different. To this day, I don't know why no one ever tried just leg kicking him because his legs were so long. But it was the fear
uh,
of the down. It was the fear, that came with that. So I think Jones is going to win. I think it's not going to be pretty. Um, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen after that. Um,
yeah,
because if he's been able to put on the size and he still has the movement and the power, it's going to be a scary thing. And I think, if anything, focus on Jones more than McGregor. But we're back to the UFC focusing on McGregor
yeah,
and Jones.
yeah.
Focus more on these guys you've been building up over the years instead of people who keep losing fights or have been away for 3 years.
Yeah.
A
You
little
see,
bit of a
Matt,
hot.
this reality is this. You know what happened to MMA and different than jiu-jitsu a little bit, different a little bit. Yet it's still different. Is the fact that MMA is a entertaining
Hmm.
business. Entertaining entertainment is different than just a sport. They're
Yeah.
not fighting just for the rules. They're not really fighting. There is a massive component, not just the numbers, right? It's not just of how many people they can put. They call ass in seats. Can put ass in seats. It's not just
Yeah.
that it's they like the borderline crazy guys. They like the borderline um, smart, well spoken, or funny, or completely berserk. They like the
Yeah.
characters that can win. So this attachment to the personality, man, it's something that we got to understand and respect. We got to respect what is the industry is. It's not.
Hmm.
It is not. Let's go this way. Um, Muhammad Ali did not just win because he was a, a tremendous technician and a competitor. No, he was Muhammad Ali especially because his verbal oratory, man, his capability to emphasize his points, his view of the world. He was connected to the politics. He was connected to the human rights. He was connected to racism or whatever you decide to do. But the way he was spoken with, the way he was outspoken, that's what it project him to a different platform. This guy, he surpassed boxing. He was not boxing anymore. He was
Yeah.
just he was representative of his ideas and ideals and morals and well, we don't have that yet. We don't have somebody and that level yet. But one thing everybody learned from that is controversy brings the eyes and ears and the mouths of everybody which is wanted to be involved in that. Even if you don't want to be involved with that, you still tune in to see this guy losing it or winning it.
It's
You'll
true.
find out and check it out. And they pay, but in the end, those the blue collar guys in the end, they're counting the dollars size, man. They're it's all about the bling bling with them. It's not a it's yeah. At the same time, when you step in this industry right now, you better know what you're getting into it. But for me, it was different. Don't forget this. We're talking about 1991. It was a clash of styles. The flagship of jujitsu, and from it was honor. It was a little bit different. Honor. Of
Way
course,
different.
people wants to make money. Yeah, but the game change it. It it is bad. Well, maybe it is worse. I don't know. I just don't. Me personally, me Ricardo Liborio, I did not sign up for that directly. It's not what I am for. my taking in life and what a jiu-jitsu is has way better intentions than just the money. It's for me, we have to be constructive to help others,
Yeah.
to help kids, to have better education, to have adults to heal in different forms, and that's important to me. Doesn't mean that money is not. I'm saying that the industry. I'm saying the industry in MMA is a dollar sign. So
Yeah.
it is kind of bad when you have somebody who makes so much money, like Conor McGregor. It loses to someone that doesn't make as much money for them. Those
Yeah.
guys, they flip. I just imagine how much they flip, you know. But anyway,
Well,
this is
and
just
I'm gonna jump in on the Ali comment because I saw something within the last year and it was him commentating. He was on TV and they were watching his fight together and they were like, "Well, you're kind of showing off." He goes, "I'm not showing off." He's like, "I'm better than him." That's what it was. And it was like you said, the way he spoke about it, the way he talked about it. They said, "Oh, do you regret being cocky?" And he went, "No. No, I was good."
uh,
It was interesting to
uh,
see that different
Matt. Let me just tell you something, Matt. This is what people don't realize. The regular guy don't realize this. Look, confidence. It is not just knowing that you can win. Confidence. It is not just related to your capability to believe in yourself. No, confidence has a lot to do it with knowing that if you lose, you still gonna be okay. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes some of those guys, like McGregor itself, McGregor is very well backed up by people that understand this industry, the the entertainment industry, and you
Mhm.
know the the spoken, the oratory. That this kid, he comes with answers, with a lot of the good questions. What it makes the regular guy, us, they're sitting down watching here outside to say, man, this guy's smart. This guy or is humble. But this is all people that understand the industry. They understand that you, you got a big chance to lose. Of course, you have a chance to treat that thing there, right? You're going to lose, or you're going to win, or you're going to draw. But you better have answer for all the questions that Joe Rogan asks you in front of millions of people. You know, and better if you're entertaining, better if you're funny, better if you are whatever it is, better if you bring the eyes and ears to you. But knowing that you can't lose with confidence, let me rephrase that you be fine, that you not be devastated, that you not be depressed, you not be trying to commit suicide after you lost. You know, better, man. It's part of confidence. This preparation is part of being confident. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like people thinking about this, but it's true, man. It's if if you have this power, then knowing that you're not gonna quit if you lost, who's gonna stop that? You know?
No one.
Yeah.
And I
Anyway,
think that's a perfect place to stop because you and I could talk for hours.
for
And I
hours,
think
man, for
for
hours.
hours. And I want to respect your time. I know you said you weren't feeling too great. I know you're
Yeah,
getting over
that's
that
true.
hump, but for you to take the time tonight, it really did mean a lot. So just
Oh,
gonna
of
go through
course,
some
brother.
sponsors real quick, and then we'll wrap up the show. So I just want to thank La
Okay.
Barba Cubana, Amazing Beard Care, Fat Boy Jiu Jitsu, Tim underscore makes knives on Instagram. Good friend of mine who's a bladesmith. So if you guys want a custom knife, want to be cool, go ahead and hit him up. Obviously, Bertzo's Bake Shop is over in Orlando, so I got to figure out where that is and send them your way. I don't know if you want the
Yes,
sweets, but
please.
there's some pretty good stuff. And then, of course, Tales of a Concert Junkie, my newest sponsor. Go ahead and use promo code Quiggin Out for 15% off your order. A lot of what we were just talking about touches on the mental health aspect. And in the same regard, where mental health and jujitsu go hand in hand, so do music. So I'm definitely a huge component of them. If anybody watched the last episode, I did actually wore a shirt, and I'm changing it up, representing my own dojo today, just because we had some people compete over the weekend in the IBJJF. I'm just shouting out. Sorry if I forget any of you, but Desiree, Terry, Ethan, Professor Butch, Josh. I know all you guys, went out there and put your hearts out. So congrats to all of you. And again, jujitsu is a community. Jujitsu is a family. But like you said, it really is an ego check, and it changes who you are as a person. And for that, I'm just thankful that you and I were introduced. So one of these days, I keep saying it, I'm gonna make that 2-hour drive, get over to you, and
Yes,
I
sir.
want to see this firsthand. So let's work on setting that up. But um, on behalf of myself, Combat Press, anybody, just I'll leave the floor to you to just say, if anybody's interested who's watching the show who doesn't know about the club, like where can they find you?
Well, Instagram I think is my biggest vehicle. I have Liborio BJJ, but besides that, man, you welcome to come anytime. I've been telling you and begging you to come for quite a while. Uh, we do have just great connections, a lot of synergy. The way we think, the way we act, I think it just is very important. It's a blast to be here, my friend. You're you're a blast to our community, and you can count on me for anything. You call me, I'll be here, even sick. You know that. Okay.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much, and I see you guys around. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Hey guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe, little bell, keep you up to date on all things Quiggin Out. Thanks again.